Hi, welcome to Suplex the Sticks, a gaming podcast hosted by David and Seth.
Hello.
And Forrest.
Howdy. And?
Who?
I don't know. Who else is...
I was keeping everyone on their toes already.
Yeah, you're keeping me on my toes.
Someone else said pipe up. Maybe the unknown is here.
Oh,
Maybe he's in the room next to us.
Well, he's in the walls.
The unknown.
The evil podcaster who lives in the walls.
Is there... What is...
That's my... What in the world? That was creepy.
Yeah.
It was the unknown.
So very funny.
He got inside your phone somehow.
The Halloween Horror Nights made a tweet with the unknown and put in a mirror emoji, and this made me laugh. Have you not stayed up on the Willy Wonka experience
I
drama?
know who the unknown is.
All right, I'm just making sure. I didn't know you weren't. You
He
weren't.
was chiming in.
I know. I was just making sure.
The unknown is
Much
not
in the way
unknown
my
to me.
phone was just chiming in with those weird chimes.
Yeah.
So we've all played games, and we've all played a game.
We've all played game.
I can tell you, I haven't played Skull and Bones.
That I don't
Good.
know. I know you for a fact you have played it since the last time we recorded.
Okay, but not since... Yeah, that's true. But not since Final Fantasy VII Rebirth came out.
Yeah, fair. I haven't. I have played Helldivers since Final Fantasy came out
fair.
because of my friend Brandon's birthday, and he wanted to play it. My friend Andrea felt that she had not had a good run in that game yet, so I also played it another night. It's the sacrifices you make for friends.
And for
I hope
democracy.
they know that I love them.
Yep. And for
Because
Super Earth, of course.
I really would like to be 6 to 7 hours further in this game than I am. But instead, I am at a paltry 17 hours. And I think I'm only scratching the surface of this game. We'll talk up to where I'm at. Because Forrest got to see a little bit of it. He's a little bit behind me, but not much. But we're going to talk up to the Junon portion, and not even like the story parts of Junon, because I've done all the side stuff in Junon before.
Yeah, it's very hard to not get caught up in doing all of the...
I don't ask Forrest. It's not hard. He
It's
just
not
skips
hard.
it all. It's
Not
insane.
all of it. I did half of them in the
It's preposterous.
grasslands area.
It's insane to me because the game feels so satisfying to
Well,
like do the things.
maybe.
I think so. The only ones that don't feel satisfying, in my opinion, are the monster challenges, especially in the grasslands, because at least for one of them, I am now too strong to do it, I think, because I kill them before I can stagger them.
That's so sad.
And so I might need to change like a setting to hard or something to
Unequip
make
all
it
of
to
your
right. I don't know.
all your stuff.
It's interesting.
Yeah. So that's a fun issue.
Did I have that problem when I was going through those?
Yeah. But yeah, I'm loving this game. I spent like 6 hours last night doing all the side stuff in the Junon area. It does seem
Not all of it.
What? Well, it says
Everything that's
complete.
available. To
Everything
you, I
that's
guess.
available.
Stuff becomes available after you do story stuff.
Well, I'm saying that Chadley told me I completed all the world intel.
Lord
That's
Chadley.
what I'm saying. I'm saying that,
The narrator of the game.
and I used all the points, and I was able to buy all the material
There
he
you
was
go.
selling.
Yeah.
So I don't know what else would be opened up, but there is probably more. Or maybe there's like a subsection of world intel or whatever.
No, I don't think. I don't think there probably isn't.
So like by saying I did all this stuff, I mean the world intel.
Right.
I'm not saying the side quests or
Yeah.
like the photography lesson or whatever. Still don't know how to take a picture in this game.
So funny thing about that photography guy. You don't have to take a picture. You just have to open the
Yes,
menu and
so-
go to camera mode.
Oh, nice.
I know, because that's what I did, because I still don't know how to snap a picture. At one
you
point, I
just have to
tried.
you just have to use the only way to
Oh.
snap a picture
I'm
is
an idiot.
using the PS5 screenshot.
Oh,
thing.
I'm an idiot. There's not an inside
Yeah, there's
game.
not an in-game screenshot taker. There's a photo mode
There's
that
a
you
photo mode that you then use the console's
I'm an idiot.
Yeah.
capabilities.
I mean, look, I also for a while was like, when I went and did the first scenic area, I was like, what do I do here to take a picture? And I was like,
I
does
kept
it just
being
want
like-
me
I
to
kept
take a
pushing
screenshot?
buttons. I kept pushing buttons, and I'm like, why is this not snapping a photo?
Yep.
What is happening?
You don't
And
have to
it makes
actually do
sense.
anything. You just have to go into photo mode. And then when you leave, it shows Cloud holding a little camera,
Oh, that's cute.
as if he just took a picture.
I don't use that button for anything.
Yeah,
I
why
don't
would
clip
you?
stuff.
Why would you? There's been a couple things that I've clipped in this game because they were very funny. This game is off the wall wacky
Yeah.
in
And
a way that is good at sometimes, and at other times I'm like, this is quite a bit much for the situations these characters
Yeah,
are in.
like especially coming off of the last game, part of me is like, oh, this should be dead serious, but like,
No, that
I'm
game
having
was
a
also wacky.
Well, yeah, but I mean,
No,
like,
but the ending of the game, they were like destroyed half of Midgar
Yeah.
and fled, and like, all right, we got to go get Sephiroth to stop the end of the world.
and like,
And even the beginning of this game is pretty somber.
yeah, but
I don't
no, it's just everyone's having a blast.
I don't think the beginning of the game's all that good, but
Oh,
but yeah, then they just once they get out into the world and they're doing stuff, like it takes a little bit for them to convince Cloud of, hey, we probably need to do this other stuff so we can have money, and they're just like, all right, we'll do all the wacky crap. Although mostly the characters that in the party aren't wacky. It is they meet a lot of wacky people out in the world and get into wacky situations.
I have to say, you're talking ill of my girl. I don't know her name. You're talking ill of Box Girl, who built
Girl.
walls around
Yes.
her, and then was mad that you knocked over her walls
yeah.
to play.
That stuff,
Queen's
like,
Blood
I
with
think
her.
I'm fine with, because that was just a very small detail, a weird character quirk that this person had. It's like they built a cardboard box fort around them, and you had to break through it to play the card game with her, and she was mad. But then she talked about how great the wall she was standing next to was. She just likes walls.
Yeah, she's a wall freak.
She'd love Wall Market.
Yeah. I'm telling you, I'm loving everything in this game. It's all weird.
yeah.
Yes, for the most part, I agree that I've had an absolute blast. But I will say, I think this game has a very poor opening, and it's kind of not fair to compare it to Remake, which had one of my favorite openings of any video game.
Yeah, it's one of the most iconic video game openings
and
of all time.
and it's like it makes sense because this is the middle of a story.
Yeah.
But the problem with that is, like, you still have to... It has to open on something. And mechanically, there has to be something satisfying to do. Now, the immediate opening of the game is absolutely insane. And I was like, what is happening?
Yeah.
I cried twice during that.
I was just
portion.
like, what is this? My brain cannot comprehend it.
It's a game.
There's a very quick...
It's a moment that's in direct conversation with something that probably happened. I don't know now, but like it is a yeah. We like almost can't talk about
Yeah,
it.
but there's like at the beginning, there's like I don't know, like
5
5
minutes,
minutes
at the most.
of pretty basic battling, and then you jump back, and then you jump to the famous flashback scene of Cloud and Nibelheim and Sephiroth,
Maybe Cloud.
and that is, for all intents and purposes, the opening tutorial-ish area But instead of like in contrast to Remake, where you started off, you first see Cloud on the top of a train,
Right.
going headfirst into a reactor that they were going to bomb, and also that has the best soundtrack ever.
So true.
In this one, you're just kind of walking around a small town and taking your leisurely time getting through stuff, and it's just for me. The whole opening, I was just like, man, this is just kind of a slog to get through.
So I only started feeling that slogginess once the party gets to like the mountains and like closer into the reactor itself.
I just think it's strange that there's just no real momentum at the beginning of the game, until you leave the flashback and you actually have the main party and you're like, okay, here's where we are, here's what we got to go do. I don't know. It was just I found it to be kind of. I was just not engaged in what was happening, and I also found it to be probably the weakest rendition of those events that I've seen, like even compared to the original game. Like, because the whole thing ends with Sephiroth burning the town down, and
Right.
and we're supposed to come out of it as thinking of Sephiroth as this horrible monster, and it just, like, I feel like the original Final Fantasy VII portrayed that better. I think the Crisis Core did a better job of it.
I think Crisis Core did an excellent job of it.
And I think even the weird, freaky flashbacks that Cloud was having at the beginning of Remake were better.
Yeah.
It just felt like the whole thing had no real punch to it.
Yeah, I can sort of. I mean, I was wrapped up in the whole thing really tightly, like
Yeah.
it, especially because, having just played, like I know you did too, but having just played, or God, when did that come out? I don't know.
Crisis Core?
Yeah.
It's like a December of like
Yeah.
2 years ago.
It was a bit ago.
Like 2 Decembers ago.
So, really, like, having just played that again, like, I just had a real fun time playing through it and, like, being like, oh, yeah, that's what this looked like. And that, like, with... That's serious. Not we won't get into that's the story stuff.
The comparison and the contrasting stuff. I did like that. One of the things I thought in Crisis Core that cheapened the moment was how it turned like the big confrontation with Sephiroth into like a multi-stage battle. I thought that made that moment a lot less impactful.
Yes.
And I was really afraid that was going to happen. It's like, man, are you really going to make me fight Sephiroth here?
See, I was kind of on the opposite end of it, where I was like, oh man, what if I fight Sephiroth here in the reactor? And I'm like, no, that wouldn't happen.
Did either of you feel that when Sephiroth lifts the robot shell of Genova, that I felt like that was a 1-for-1 take from like the original game.
Yeah,
like, I felt it looked. I felt it looked like the FMV, like cuts, not FMV, but like the cutscene from the original. I was like,
it definitely was. Like, it was very similar.
Like
for sure.
they like really 1-for-1 evoked that scene, and it is an iconic scene.
Yeah. See, I was thinking like, oh man, this looks almost exactly like how they did it in Advent Children. That's my more immediate
but of course,
frame of reference.
That was probably also
yes.
venturing to one-to-one remake.
Yes, absolutely.
So yeah, the opening. I was glad to be through with it. I thought some of the stuff like
it is weird also that Sephiroth fights like Tifa. They fight very similarly.
Interesting.
By having their triangle, but be a different.
Sephiroth. It was cool that you fight as. I
had a blast with that.
A lot of the tutorial really struggling to figure out how the stupid synergy attacks worked.
Yeah.
I could never get them to work.
They're
I
easy in
still-
the tutorial. They're harder to do in the
I
actual
still
game.
have
In
a
the
very
tutorial,
hard
it was
time
just like,
figuring
do
them out.
this, and this meter will fill up, and you can do this. I was like, okay.
It's like, okay, cool.
And then I could never get it to work.
Yeah.
I cannot. I still like when they show up as doable. I'm like, yeah, but I don't know.
Yes.
It's
hard to get them to do, because I swear you have to fill the meter up before you even have the ability to do one of them. I don't know if that's true. The way it works is that certain actions that you can do, like ATB actions, will give you like one little point on this meter out of 5. And each of the synergy attacks needs each character to have a certain amount.
Yeah.
And so it requires actively controlling
multiple
characters, or at least
Oh,
getting
Orders to them.
getting them to use
To have
their,
those bars meet together.
and complicating that is there are also there are abilities they can do that don't give you those little points.
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
One quick thing about the prologue, real quick, and how Sephiroth fights. I actually realized that he kind of plays like Virgil from Devil May Cry. He has I forgot what the bar is called, but like it has to do with like his triangle attacks, I think. And if he gets hit, like it completely resets to 0, which is like how Virgil's motivation meter works, or concentration meter.
It was
and I was
definitely
like,
one of the cooler parts of it. Was jarring that you control Cloud, but Sephiroth is set to the leader of the party. So whenever
and I did not change it.
I didn't either, but it was just weird. Whenever Cloud engages an enemy, you automatically switch to Sephiroth.
Yeah.
But he's
the party leader, bro.
It was a cool thing. I enjoyed that. I swear though, I feel like footage that they showed in one of the trailers of having Cloud and Sephiroth in the party, I swear it takes place somewhere that looked different from what Nibelheim
like
did.
it was in like the grasslands or something.
And maybe that was just put in there as flair. I don't know. So
There's no telling.
yeah.
No,
The other
we'll
thing
find out at
for
some
me
point.
is that at the beginning of this game, I was really struggling with not being able to take the game for what it was. There was a point where I wish that I didn't have as much hype for the game, and I wish I didn't have as much knowledge of the original, because for a very good part of like the first area, all I could do in my head was keep like comparing stuff and like, oh, this is different, oh, I wonder where this is going, rather than actually just like
Taking it as it is.
being able to play the game and take it as is presented.
Yeah. Here's what you do. Get a lobotomy.
Yeah.
Or get in a horrible accident where you get amnesia of anything from like a few years ago.
Or just have a worse memory about certain things.
Yeah, that's what I do. I'm having a blast. There's a part that we'll get to talking about in a little bit. I was so just in the moment in the game that I wasn't even thinking like, oh yeah, this is where this thing happens.
Yes. So that was a lot of the beginning of my experience. Was either not really enjoying what was presented or not being able to like fully engage myself. And that wasn't to say I wasn't enjoying it. Like I was still enjoying the gameplay and the act of doing stuff, because the combat still feels great. And I think the new additions are smart. They add a little bit without really changing. I was kind of worried about like the synergy stuff, if those were going to be like overpowered, but the fact that
it takes a lot of effort to get them in the first place,
and then there are like more passive synergy stuff that aren't really huge power attacks. A lot of them are just movement and guarding tech.
I have one for Barret and Cloud right now where it gives me an extra gauge on the ATV gauge.
No, I'm talking about the when you're holding the guard button, there are like duo actions that you can do that will like call someone
those
in
are
to
weird.
block. Yeah, they're they're. I think they have very niche uses. Like one of them that is very useful is if you like are using Tifa, you can have a character launch her into the air so she can attack airborne units.
Yeah.
So they're just sort of random stuff like that. And I think that I don't really remember the way that they worked in Intergrade with Sonon. I
Neither,
feel like
unfortunately.
it was definitely more integrated in a more seamless way. But it makes sense for that game, which was one character with one AI companion.
Yeah.
And they tried to adapt it, and I think they did mostly a good job there. I miss Sonon. Sonon was so fun to play with.
He was great.
He was great.
Here's hoping Sid plays like that.
Yeah.
At some point.
Yes. That's what I remember playing that. I was just like, oh, so this is just what Sid is going to be.
Yeah. I think we talked about
yeah,
that,
we
actually.
I have absolutely no idea how they're going to incorporate 2 more party members. I wonder if in the next game everyone will be playable.
Yeah, they have to be.
Yeah.
It's the rules.
I don't know though. I don't know. I just don't know.
Wait, do you not have Yuffie yet?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
I have
Okay.
Yuffie and Kate Sith, who plays very weird. I haven't used Kate Sith a whole lot, but goofy character.
I mean,
Doesn't automatically have the big Moogle all the time. So you could fight as just Tiny Cat.
Oh, wow.
And then you have to summon Big Moogle.
I legit mainly just use Cloud Tifa Barrett, which
Yep.
is terrible of me, but
The Holy Trinity.
Red 13 is fun to use. He's
good at staggering.
Yeah, he's got like absolutely wild attack animations. Like he
Yeah.
flies
I know.
all
His-
over.
His one of his abilities.
it's terrifying.
It's called like Sunset Ray or
Stardust
something like that.
Ray?
Stardust Ray.
Yeah.
That attack shreds.
Yeah, it melts people.
Like it's
And you
not
start out
hard.
with it.
Yeah,
It's
and
great.
it's not hard to get like out in the
Yeah.
field either. Like holy
I
crap.
also enjoy using Aerith in this one. I think they give her a suite of abilities that makes her more fun to use.
Yeah.
And a bit less.
They give her that familiar and stuff like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, and
I
and
haven't messed
but like
with that at all yet.
even later down the road, you just get stuff that makes her. I think she's still her and Bear still have the most least satisfying regular attacks, but I think they're both still fun to use.
Yeah. I'm completely shocked by how many systems there are working in tandem with each other in this game, from entirely different like play set styles for each of the characters, how they work with each other. Like it's astounding, really. And some of those synergy abilities, like calling in an ally to come like guard you for a quick second or something like that, actually remind me a lot of specifically Kingdom Hearts 2, and like some of the I guess they were the regular reaction commands, but it was like the ones specifically with your party members, like the situational ones. And I really I'm getting like a double dose of like nostalgia here for like Final Fantasy VII in general, but then also like this game feels like Kingdom Hearts 2 to me in a way that I'm not entirely certain I can express. But it feels like
I've had multiple moments where I'm like, man, this feels a lot like Xenoblade to me.
yeah.
Yeah, so that, that's interesting.
That is
Obviously
interesting.
the Kingdom Hearts 2 thing is definitely deeply baked into the DNA of the game.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, at the end of the day, playing this game is a humongous breath of fresh air with all of my frustrations with Final Fantasy 16.
Yeah.
I can imagine.
Him and I were talking
Like
about
genuinely
this earlier.
having elements that
A good
do
combat system.
damage and do more damage or less damage, and then also having ways that I fight an enemy affect the way that they react to me. Like, it's just very nice.
Yeah, it is a great combat system.
Yeah.
And it makes me wonder what happened. Like, there's something.
I mean, yeah,
Because-
it's different project leads.
I know, but still.
I'm sorry, that is the direct answer.
And also the cowardice of Final Fantasy 16 to have one Moogle awkwardly and not want to show anything like that. And now,
Look, I This game would be better without Moogles. The
Shut
Moogles in
your
this game
mouth.
are horrifying.
Shut your mouth. They're
I
great.
hate them.
I love
they
them.
are disgusting
They're great.
abominations.
I don't like their designs.
They're the best.
I'll
They have-
halfway agree
I
with
don't
Seth on
like
this.
the way that they speak.
The mini game of wrangling them is fantastic.
The minigame's fun, but they just have these freakish long bodies and these
Yeah, they're
horrible
10 out of 10.
Ewok rodent
I
faces.
love them, and I
They
won't
look
hear
like
otherwise.
monsters.
Yeah, I don't like the designs.
I wish I could kill them.
And their home looks great. Just a giant random mushroom in the middle of nowhere.
The
I love
Mughouse.
them. I'm so glad.
I hate them.
I'm so glad
I
they
think
exist.
they're horrifying.
Listen,
I hate every interaction I have with them.
you feel this. You feel
But
that way
they do
about the
sell good
Moogles,
items.
and other people feel that way about Chadley. They're wrong.
I think
they're
Chadley's
wrong,
great.
yeah.
Well, I think most people feel the way I do about the Moogles.
I would argue you're wrong. I love them. And
I just
I'm
think they
one
need
out
a
of
better
3.
design.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they're ugly and they have creepy.
And
they have
Chadley's
creepy
also
voices.
great. I'm tired of the internet
Laura, I
being
can't-
mean against this boy.
He's
I
done
don't
nothing
know- I
wrong.
don't know
And
what to think
Mai,
about
the girl.
Chadley. He's just
do you mean?
Mai is the worst.
And yeah,
Oh, Lord.
Chadley.
I mean, she's no Chadley.
Chadley is in love with Cloud. It's obvious.
I don't think so. I think Chadley
That's a
is
weird.
a robot.
Yeah, and he loves Cloud.
I mean,
He's definitely has a.
he can't
And
feel
He's very
emotion.
interested in Cloud.
Yes, you very interested is a way to tiptoe
But I
around.
think it's more
He
like
loves Cloud,
as a,
and he created a female robot to try to get closer to Cloud.
I don't think so, because
Yeah.
every time she
That's
does,
my
Chadley
headcanon.
pipes in like,
I know
"What are
he's
you
jealous.
doing?
He's jealous about
You're
it.
being a weirdo."
He created her. He can't be jealous about her.
Yeah, he is.
I don't know what to think about Chadley in this game. On the one hand, I kind of appreciate him. On the other hand,
I love his excitement for
tired
the
of-
world.
Actually, for the most part, I find his little chime-ins on the controller to be innocuous. The stuff I hate is when the stupid AI is talking to you the whole time you are fighting enemies. It's like, oh my god, shut up! Let me just fight.
Oh, I
these
just tuned it
stupid
out.
Enemies.
Yeah, I just tuned that out.
The more annoying thing is like when it is like interrupting gameplay. When you do an activity, you can't just go to the next thing, and you have to go through this text with Chadley. I will say that. So I think this game has a very similar structure to the first one, and that you kind of have specific, like large set pieces in areas.
Yeah.
And then you will go into a more open setting where you can
kinda
run
let
around
loose.
and there's multiple stuff to do. The only difference in the previous game, they were very small, like contained areas.
Yeah.
The sort of gameplay
With specific
was still the
pathing.
same. They were like towns with a little bit of outskirts rather than entire.
Like wildlands areas.
Yeah. And I don't know which I think is more successful. I think for the most part, I think early on I was wishing there were more of the specific sequences like there were in Remake, where you were going in to like a sort of one of those set pieces, like in the reactor you would go in and you were kind of always moving forward linearly rather than being in an open space to go around and do what you want in whatever order. And so I don't know how successful I think it has been for me. I kind of have wished there had been more. Up to this point, there have been more of those kind of set paths that you're going through.
Yeah.
And I know there isn't really any way for them to have done that because
Because of the way this part of the game is structured.
well, just because of the way the original game was structured.
Right,
Like, you
yeah,
have to
well,
go
no,
out
that's
and-
what I'm
you
saying,
have to
like
go out
this-
into the open world to do stuff.
this was the big conversation we had at the end of the last game
how's it gonna
of
work?
like how.
But I don't know. I guess I'm of two minds. Like, I do think they have done a good job, and I think that the world feels at once large and also small enough to like be manageable.
Yeah. And I think the world is populated with enough things for the player to do, enough varied things, I might specify, that the open world design doesn't feel like it's wasted a lot of the times, you know? Like, I like traveling around, I like exploring. I'm constantly coming across, like, those world intel markers, or a tower, or a live stream spring, or whatever it's called, to go and find, you know, like those things are coming up consistently.
Yeah, and I don't think that's my issue. Like, I think the stuff that there is out to do in the world is fun enough to do, and especially the little stories that you can find. But I think that, like, in terms of it's definitely weird in terms of pacing.
Especially with the looming threat of the main plot.
Yeah, and even in the first one, like, it took place in a kind of very defined length of time.
Right.
And that was sort of shown off within the game, that, like, there was actual stuff that you did in the day and stuff that you did during the night. And there was a very distinct passage of time of certain stuff affecting things in the future. And I think you do kind of lose that going into the open world here. Where it's just like, okay, just do whatever you want for however long, and then get around to whatever the next story piece is. It does kind of lose a bit there for me. But I think for the most part it's mostly just been, I find that to be more of a nitpick than anything, just because I have thoroughly enjoyed it, and when the game does get into those more like siloed story areas, I think they have been the high points of the story for me, and of the gameplay. So I'm, hoping to get more of those. I don't know, David, you were telling me that there's like 6 different open world segments.
That's what I've heard, or at least what I think I've heard from most. I don't want to go look anything up.
Yeah, me either.
That's the most I've looked up is how many chapters are in the game, which some of them have to be very long, in my opinion, because there's 14. But I know that I am in chapter 4, and
getting further into the game, I'm finding that I don't really remember a lot of the stuff that happens after leaving Midgar, from playing 7, because like I do remember the places that I'm going to in this game,
right.
But then I'm just like, I really have no clue like what order stuff is going to come up in, when I'm gonna do such, like how much further down in this game is it going to be to do something? I don't even know. Which I think is good, because it does.
Do you think we go back to Midgar in this game, or we can?
I don't know. It's
on the
there
map.
on the map, so I don't know. I mean, it may be there
just as a vision.
Yeah, as like to anchor where you are in the world.
Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, I think there is. I mean, I don't know how this game plays out, but I think there will be parts that will take place in Midgar.
Yes, there are. There is even one at the very beginning of the game.
Yeah.
But in the grasslands, there's like an area you can go up that is a road up to Midgar, and they're like, "Don't go here now. You don't want the guards to get mad." And so, I don't know. That would be interesting, and it wouldn't surprise me. But also would surprise. I don't know, but I also don't know. Like, again,
what is the vision?
I have like a vague understanding of what the original game is. Like, I have some idea that apparently at some point we got to go to that temple where the black materia was.
Yeah.
But I also have no clue how far away from that I am. It's a very strange feeling, like sort of knowing what is ahead, but not having any idea how like much gameplay there is for me to there, which is kind of neat. I mean,
Yeah.
I think it's good to be redoing the story that I've played before and also not really knowing what is going to happen.
I've been loving it.
Yeah,
I'm
same.
really excited.
Yeah.
It's hard because I'm not as far as I'd like to be. And so I want to know. There's so many things I want to know. Part of my issue is the internet as a whole right now. Sounds weird, but I know what happens in this game. Like, because I've
Broadly.
I know what is supposed to happen in
Yeah,
this game.
Yes.
Because of the nature of what is happening in this game, I know that things at some points can change or be different. And that is a purposeful choice and a way to convey a message, a way to converse with the original choices they made in the original game, a way to talk to what making games today is like versus making games like back then. A lot of stuff, we talked about a lot of that back when we originally talked about Remake. And so the internet as a whole is having a really hard time with the nature of what a spoiler is, while also, in my opinion, maybe for SEO reasons, other stuff, I don't know, not being respectful of what this game is trying to get across. Because I know that some stuff is going to change. I would assume that some stuff is going to change.
Yeah.
But I don't necessarily like want hints about where that happens or what parts are different, because I want to experience in the moment the value of, oh wait, that's not right. Like, because there's more that's so much fun to my brain. Like, to be like, hold on,
Yeah.
that's not it's the Leo DiCaprio pointing at the screen meme type of thing. But like, because, and maybe like this is such a weird, and I don't want to gatekeep this game, like, because I think that where my brain and my argument ends up going, I end up being kind of a gatekeeping douchebag, and I'm not trying to be. Part of my problem is that in order to give context to people that have not played the original game, news sites are going out of their way aggressively to be like, this is what really was happening, and this is what happened, and that's why this is different.
Yeah.
And so all of these articles are coming up that are not spoiling the game for me, but like indicating things to me, and I'm like, I don't want to have an indication.
Yeah.
It's not just the big moment that I know is there. Like, there's other little things, and and it's not like it's not going to ruin the game for me. I'm loving this game. I'm loving everything about it. It's a breath of fresh. It feels like what this is supposed to feel like, and like what a Final Fantasy is supposed to feel like to me, especially if you're trying to do it in this sort of a system. But just the state of the gaming media is just crap, if this is what it is. Like, if people cannot enjoy a game based on what is presented, which I think that they do a good job of presenting this game for newcomers, in some ways, and in other ways not, in my opinion. But then that's on them. An IGN article is not going to make them feel better about what they played. It's not going to give them better context, really. It's going to tell them what happened in the original game, but that's not going to give them the emotional attachment to it.
No. In a perfect world, like them not knowing the differences would maybe lead them to wanting to play the original or
Right.
experiencing it in some way that's a little more personal than just reading a comparison article. And then in doing so, they can converse further with how this game is conversing with its own legacy.
Right. And I mean, the answer that someone, you guys can listen to this, and easily the answer that someone can be like was, well, David, then don't be as online and don't go onto the news sites. And I'm with you.
That can be a hard thing
But
to
sometimes
avoid.
what gets me through the day is checking random gaming news sites at occasional times of the day when I need something to push me through. Even if it's depressing, which most of the gaming news now is depressing. So like the one thing I don't need is depressing gaming news and then news articles that are SEO driven to try to, that are sabotaging my experience with something that I love.
Yeah.
And so it's just put me in kind of a bummer mood. I lashed out at Seth a little bit this week, even though I didn't mean to. Like, because he's just been naturally reacting to things. And I've been excited for him. But because of how he's reacting, I know about where like stuff is that he might be reacting to. And so I'm like, oh man, I'm really happy for you. And I wish I would like, I'm not trying to be mean. I'm really happy for you. I will be there. Like,
The journey's just taking a little longer.
right.
Yes.
So it's,
I definitely can understand how like it is all over the place. I have even almost fallen into the trap of some. I clicked on some article about Aerith, and I was reading the opening, and luckily they were very clear at the beginning. Like, look, there's no way around it. We're gonna spoil what happens, and I was like, okay,
So, okay, turn
out
off.
of here.
Yeah.
But yeah, it does seem to be pervasive across all of gaming sites that they're just like, hey, let's analyze every part of this game.
yeah.
And hopefully you won't find any like spoilers in the titles or in the thumbnails, but it is,
That's
you know,
what.
it's what they do with every single game, but it has been a while since
It has affected us.
right.
Like, so
there's been a
deeply.
game that
it's
we
like
were
a minefield.
invested in, specifically story stuff. Like
Yeah.
I was
it's
so.
it's even different when it's like gameplay specific things that you're but you know there's a lot of games that I like in which I will play that I can see those spoilers for and just be like, yeah, well, okay,
Yeah.
that's fine.
Right.
But yeah,
But this is on another level.
yeah,
And I was so terrified because I had to go to a guide for something. And it wasn't even.
yeah.
It wasn't even. This makes me so mad. I love this video game so much. I had to go to a guide because I couldn't find a ladder because it was in the mines when you're playing as Barrett.
Oh, yeah.
And the rock that I tore apart to unlock the path up, the rubble covered up the blue light that indicated that it was a ladder.
Yeah.
And so they're like, you've got to climb out. And I'm like,
Where?
I can't climb out.
Yeah.
We gotta talk about
That rubble system is rough in
There
the mines, too.
is an frankly absurd amount of just objects in this game that can go flying when you walk into them and that make so much noise.
I saw a video.
They're just all
last
over
night
the place.
of Tifa riding around on one of the segways in the Casa del Sol section, and she's just running into like a bunch of
That's
tables
so
and
fun to
cracking.
do.
It's
They
the funniest
explode
video
and they make
I've
so
seen.
much noise.
I was dying last night.
I
It's
turned
just
off.
ridiculous.
I turned the incidental audio down to like 6 in the settings.
Yeah, that's probably
because
better
like
off.
you could hear like the jingling of someone, like, and it was louder than the music.
I found
think
that the music is louder than the dialogue. half the times.
I do remember from the first one that it is poorly mixed in some areas, like where the music does kind of drown out dialogue.
During cutscenes of all
yeah,
things,
is
where the dialogue
weird.
should be the most important
It's
thing.
very strange.
Quick side note: the music is bomb. That hollow battle
yeah,
theme,
that was
oh,
good.
so
I
good.
popped off when
I
I
was
heard that.
I just stayed in that section for like 20 minutes, just sitting there.
Yeah,
Like
I
this is
think-
good. This is nice.
I think I've been kind of disappointed with the music as a whole, honestly.
Really, every track that comes on, I'm like, yeah, this is good.
Yeah, I think they're all good tracks. I think what I've been disappointed is the way it repurposes themes from the first game. And also sometimes repurposes songs whole cloth.
Yeah,
And puts them in situations like this. This doesn't
entirely fit.
right. It's a completely different situation from like my memory of where it was used in the first one,
Okay.
and so
That's fair.
it's kind of off-putting. But I will say I got to Costa del Sol, and I feel like it's been pretty much original stuff that I've noticed, and all the music has been banging.
Nice.
And then when it throws in parts, so when I was in the Gold Saucer, it's got the Gold Saucer theme. I forget what like the main riff of it is. It's just kind of very carnival-y. But when you're going in the tubes, to like the different squares, it takes out like the melody, and it's just kind of got the background chords, and then this little dun 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 dun, this little like Tifa's theme.
Yeah.
Because I was going through it with Tifa.
Yes, sir.
And so it was doing these little chimes of Tifa's theme. It was like, oh, that's neat.
That's
I don't know.
beautiful.
I don't know if that's there at any other time or if it changes if you're with different people.
I
So
mean,
that
I would
was
take a
cool.
dine change like that with
So
whoever
I
you're
think,
with.
but I think that's what I've been kind of the most disappointed with, in terms of music, and I think in terms of boss battles. It feels like there has been a lot, and I don't know if there's really been any. Remake. I very vividly remember these like multi-stage boss battles with like these dynamic changes in music and in kind of combat mechanics,
Yeah.
and
That Genova one was so sick.
And
Yes,
thus
sir.
far, I feel like that has been very lacking for me, which has been a bummer. Like, there's been plenty of bosses, but they haven't had the kind of dynamic changes within the gameplay and within the music that was really one of the things that stood out the most about Remake to me, which has been kind of a bummer. And I think that's been kind of my biggest gripe with the music, is that there haven't been those kind of evolving tracks. Because when I think of the music in Remake, I do think of the moments where you had one track that like progressively changed
Right.
as the longer it went on.
Yeah.
And some of that was due to the way that shifting in and out of battle, like you would have a very like the bass of a very good track, and I mean BASE, not the bass.
The bases.
Right.
And when you would be in like a tense situation, like you've got this tense music, and then it would flow in and out of seamlessly
A
flow
battle
into the battle
version.
theme.
Yeah.
And it does do that, but in general, like the open world themes and then the battle versions of those themes are often very drastic, like shifts in terms of dynamics and energy. Whereas the moments that I'm thinking of is when they were the same kind of energy, like it was tense whether you were in battle or not, and when you got in battle, it sort of amped up the sound. But I do think for the most part, like I have enjoyed the overworld and battle themes.
Right.
But it hasn't quite hit for me in the way that some of the tracks did in the first one.
It's understandable.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I think I don't want to talk too much about story stuff. I'm happy with our conversation about mechanics.
What do we think of the yellow painted lines on climbing?
They're
This was a big stupid discussion that happened on Twitter. Like people are like, "Oh my god, we're back to the."
I've only
painted-
seen
the
them like
painted
twice,
rocks."
Yeah,
but like,
I saw them in the flashback section.
but there's been other climbing sections where they're not there.
Yeah, like I almost missed one during that
Yeah.
Barrett section. In
Yeah,
the
there was one in the mine that wasn't there.
that like
Yeah.
it was like you're climbing up a part of a tree, and I almost completely missed it. If it wasn't for the fact that
Yeah,
I
the
was
one
like,
on the tree is stuff. I was just asking, like, what do we think of those in general? Just
I don't
'cause
care.
no,
It
I
never
don't-
does.
I don't really care either.
I
It's funny, like when I was reading it, I saw some quote from some designer who was like, "You have to find a way to mark these, and if you didn't mark
Yes.
them, people would be like, what the heck do we do here?"
So this is what I want to talk about, is because especially when you think like how games and graphics specifically have evolved over time. Back in the day, when you had climbing sections like that, it was very clear because you just had a random like ledge jutting out from something or
Yes.
something like that. But with games becoming more photorealistic as time has gone on, it is harder to distinguish anything in any given scenery
Yeah.
now. Like you are
Especially in
given
a game like this where everything is so hyper detailed.
Yes, and it's so hard to distinguish anything and pick
Right.
anything out in such a hyper detailed landscape like that. So sometimes the only solution is literally just slapping a huge bright yellow paint on something and hoping that works.
Yeah, I do think there can be a natural explanation of that. Like when people climb rocks, if there are paths that are used, they're going to be worn down and are
Yeah.
a different color. And so if you wanted to use white there, it wouldn't pop as much. But it's funny, like I had that discussion going on in the back of my mind when I was playing the other day, and I was like, where the heck do I go? I swear I've run over, and then I looked, and it's like, oh, there's a little yellow line showing me, okay, that's the place I can
Right,
climb
yeah.
up. And it just made me laugh when that happened to myself, just thinking about that. Everyone, like all these dumb people online saying, this is terrible game design. Haven't we moved past this? And then me like hanging from a rope and what? Where am I supposed to go? And and turning the camera and there's a yellow. I was like, oh, I'll go there.
Like
That's how I go up.
Like I promise to all those people that think that they don't need it, you do.
Yeah.
You need it so badly if
Yes.
if the game that you're playing looks as real as the world outside your door.
Speaking of realistic graphics, I've also been disappointed by the lack of pre-rendered backgrounds.
Oh, I'm not
I
disappointed.
really loved that they came back in remake, and it's a shame
They
the
still can
place
come
that
back.
the PS5 is powerful enough to just render everything in game. Like I just
I don't know. That under
something.
section of Midgar looked really rough.
I loved
in
it.
remake.
It was hilarious.
Like,
You
I-
say that, but the in my opinion, the pre-rendered graphics section of this game is the Chadley Combat Simulator, which somehow has the
It's a bit
longest
different.
load times in the world.
Yeah, that
Even though I
takes
could
forever to get in
instantaneously,
and out of those battles.
even though I could instantaneously fast travel across a giant map,
Yeah.
it's probably
look-
because it has to load you into a whole new area.
I guess.
Yeah, I could. Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
it's
I think
weird.
that's onto something here.
Like if
The
if
way
it,
games and loading areas works
right.
now.
If you have the whole one section loaded up all the time, it would be easy for you to get from one place to another in that section. But
I
then if
guess.
you're just like you go in the menu, it's like teleport me over here,
Yeah.
so I can do one battle, and then teleport me back. Yeah, this stuff is.
I don't know.
It does take a long
I
time to load, though. It's
think you're
weird.
being very nice to Chadley about it.
Look, you're the one who loves Chadley.
Yeah.
And I love him too. And I love him.
but he needs to be a better programmer.
I think he needs to be a better programmer and to get his code tight so this doesn't happen.
He's got some funny lines.
He's very rude if you are not good.
Yes. He's I don't know what I think about his inclusion, but I think he does have good writing most of the time.
Those summon fights are rough.
Dude, I was doing one where so the first one I when Titan came available, I immediately did it, and
I need to do that
and
one
I got
still.
just demolished.
Yeah, I have
and
to.
you can
I have
do
to make them weaker.
You can do things to make them weaker. And when I was
it's
fighting,
a side thing that you skip.
I'm going to go back to it. I just
When-
wanted to make some story progress.
I in Corel is where Alexander is, and so I did one of his things and went to fight him. Big mistake. I was getting absolutely blasted
Mollywopped.
during this fight. I had both of my party members were dead except Cloud, and I was able to sneak behind him and just spam the attack button until he died. I don't know how it happened.
What?
I was so close to death.
You Elden Beasted him.
Yeah.
Like I did.
Yeah.
I just got to a position where it seemed like the attacks he was using couldn't hit me, or I was dodging them, and he wasn't powering up into any bigger attacks. So I was just able to I didn't have to move. I was just able to hold attack and whittle him down.
Oh yeah, you
That's
Elden
crazy.
Beasted him. That's great.
It was great. I was so amazed when I defeated, because I got down to 2 people, and to just Cloud. I was like, should I just quit this? There's no way that I can do this. And I thought, no, I'll see what I can
Stick
do.
it out,
And
see what you can
I was
do.
able to just sort of
I
loved
little
it.
tried
bit by bit. It
Phoenix.
was great.
I tried Phoenix today, even though Phoenix was all the way weakened according to the thing, and it's still brutal.
Yeah, they're tough fights. I don't know that they're possible if you do them on regular difficulty.
Yeah, I
Unless
don't
you're-
know.
because
I tried Titan with only 1 down, and I'm like, huh.
because they sync to your level, so there's no
Oh,
way
there's-
to power over it.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're tough, and I appreciate the tough battles in this game because
oh my god,
Dude, some of these
I
boss
just
fights are kicking my butt till freaking
so
next
I
week,
haven't
dude.
had a boss fight kick my butt except for when you do so much of one of the I can't remember which one of the side quests you
Yeah.
do unlock an area boss. And
Yeah.
let me tell you, the area
I need to
boss.
fight that one. The Quetzalcoatl.
yes,
Yeah.
No, that one was fine.
Oh, okay.
I mean, I thought he was pretty tough because he's just got a ton of health points.
So it's weird. That one didn't do anything for me, or it wasn't super hard. But the area boss for
The next one, yeah.
the next one,
For
Junon, I have never, or at least in this game so far, it was the wrestling equivalent of a big dude running into the chest of another big dude, and him just standing there and no selling it.
Oh god.
And it was
Oh no.
it was a war of attrition, and I won, but it barely
Yeah.
it was that thing had no weaknesses. It was just and it kind of told you hey, you just gotta punch, you just gotta hit
yeah,
this
Five
thing.
killer queen.
That's
Uh,
has no
and-
weaknesses. That's
and
true.
it
is tough when you
was-
run into an enemy and you assess it, and the thing is just yeah, there's no way
Good
to
luck, bud.
There's no weaknesses. There's no way to pressure this guy. You just kind of have to beat him up and hope that
Hope
you
that
don't
you survive.
you know. I was doing one of the I guess it was I don't know if it was a simulator battle or an arena, but there are these enemies that can grab you and bind you, and then they will explode and instantly kill you.
Oh my
What?
god, I have not seen that.
Oh my god. Is there any way to
and-
switch to another character and stop that? Attack
I
them all?
guess so.
Okay. I need to know what for
But
when I encounter
so I
these
was
guys.
playing this, and I have this item on Cloud that let him tank a killing hit with 1 HP, and
Yeah.
so it happened to him, and he it exploded on him, and he was and survived with 1 HP, and so I was like, oh, that's dangerous. I gotta watch out for that. And then of course, it was a group of 4 of them, so. There were 3 other ones that could grab me and explode my 3 characters. They also die, which is, I guess, a good thing. But pretty quickly, it grabbed both Aerith and Red, and they were gone. And so it was just Cloud and this one other thing, and I was just running, trying to get off ranged attacks.
You do the
and,
dodge attack, yeah.
Yeah, and not let it grab me. And then it did, and I was like, well, great, I just lost this challenge. Except, because it also died, it was like, Cloud has been incapacitated, and it said victory. And I was like, I guess I win. I defeated all the monsters.
Dark Souls Outer Ring thing of like boss slain.
Yeah, you died.
Except you died too.
Yes, I thought it was just really funny because like if I hadn't had that one item equipped, because it was in one you can't use it where there was no items to revive, and I didn't have revive on. I had a summon, and I could have summoned Phoenix, and I just didn't think about it. And then the character that I had Phoenix on died. It was a very funny battle.
Yeah.
A lot of fun stuff in this game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We could talk forever about it.
Yes.
That's the thing.
We haven't even gotten into Queen's Blood.
Yeah.
And I never will.
You will.
It's
so good.
You have to hold me at gunpoint.
All right, I will.
It's sad that Fort Condor is kind of neutered in this version.
I mean, I did not expect it to come back.
Yeah, I didn't either. But
they brought it back for a series of side quests.
Fort Condor was good. I remember playing that.
Yeah, I enjoyed Fort Condor.
Yeah.
you can't.
Occasionally, I like a minigame.
You can't play that.
Not much. Like I didn't play it for more than like 20 minutes.
In Intergrade.
Yeah. I know, but like he can't say Fort Condor was good and be willing to interact with that, but not play Queen's Blood.
I think it's just because it has cards. He also didn't
yes.
interact with wheels at all in that what was it? That RPG that we all played?
Sea of Stars.
Sea of Stars, yeah. Yes.
Oh, Wheels is great.
Yeah, Wheels was great.
Yahtzee.
Man hates
it's just Yahtzee.
mini games.
I do hate mini games
that are put in, and this game is like 15% mini games.
Yeah, I don't know how you're gonna like this game.
I'm gonna love this game, and I'm gonna love not having to play every single mini game.
You don't have to do it, but
exactly.
you should do it because it's fun.
No, I don't have to do it. Therefore, I will probably not.
But Queen's Blood is better than like the vast majority of mini games in this game. And you're gonna ignore it and play all the other bad ones.
I watched David play it earlier. It does not look exciting to me.
It is.
Oh, it's enthralling. Making the other person submit is great. What a great game. All right.
Yes.
We're going to go... I don't even know if we should... We'll take a break and then we'll talk about the Xbox Partner Showcase.
Will we? I didn't watch it.
Yeah, we'll talk a little bit about it and then we'll let people go. We'll be right back.
Hi, Big Joe here, and I'm here to tell you to check out Suplex the Sticks on all social media platforms at Suplex the Sticks. Links for the socials and the invite to our Discord are in the show notes below. Subscribe and review the show on your favorite podcatcher, and while you're at it, let your friends know about the podcast. It's the best way to help us grow our community. And with that, back to the show.
And we're back. We
just spent like half an hour talking off mic about Final Fantasy VII Rebirth.
Yeah, there's just lore stuff that
so much
I don't want to put upon everyone else until we can really get into it. If you really want to hear some of us, I feel like we even repeated old conversations. Just go listen to our spoiler cast for Remake to warm yourself up for what will inevitably be like a 4-hour episode when we all beat this game.
Yeah.
But
maybe we won't even do it. If you want to hear it, you just have to talk to us.
Yeah. I don't know.
You have to hang out
you
with us.
You have to come to the
chat
council.
With us for a
come
whole
to the
day.
council. We'll set up a time and place, and everyone can show up.
We won't take questions or anything. We'll just sit and talk about it.
We'll just sit there and theorize for 5 hours.
And if you don't want to talk about the game, you can just sit and vibe. No one would be mad at you. It's like when I have friends over for wrestling. Some of the friends that are there play board games while the wrestling is happening. You can do other things.
Yeah.
I just want to be around my friends. I like being around people sometimes. specific people. I like.
Not all people.
Yeah.
Not
No.
any people.
Not just any
I'm
person.
a
not just
very-
a Joe Schmo.
I'm a very introverted extrovert. Like it is very much so draining of my social battery to be around strangers. But if I'm around the people I care about, it's a lot easier.
Then I would say
As-
you're an extroverted introvert.
Sure. Either way, you can ask the people of
An
Applebee's.
ambivert.
Ask the people of Applebee's about the night that Seth and I knocked over speakers.
That was so long ago. You
I-
keep bringing that up.
Yeah.
It's one of my favorite
As if we're the
memories.
same people.
I think that given the right circumstance, we could easily slide back into that mode. I'm just saying.
I don't know.
Oh, I thought you meant the same people as like you two. Like
No, we're not merged into
yeah,
one being.
or like one of
We can do that.
one of
We have done that.
We've done that.
yeah the Unimind, of course. We're all
Not even
familiar.
that. That's the Giga person.
Yeah, it's a giga person. It's true. That only happens in pools generally.
Yeah, but it does happen. But let's talk about the Xbox partner preview. I didn't see the first 3 games or the first 5 games.
wow.
I didn't see the first 4, 5.
I didn't see the first
6.
16 games.
I didn't see any of them.
I saw the latter 9.
I saw little things on Twitter.
Yeah, I watched the whole thing. I skipped through 2 sections.
I did see that they revealed the Persona 3 episode Aegis,
Yes.
which everyone was mad that wasn't included in the base game, and then they said this is the whole story that we want to tell, and it's like, oh, surprise,
Surprise.
we're releasing it for $35 extra.
But it's on Game Pass.
Sure.
Yeah.
It's going to be included in the
Right.
Game
Then
Pass.
it doesn't matter to me, of course.
Right. Sinking City 2, Seth.
Big surprise there.
Yeah. Listen,
the
this
moment
trailer
I
was going
saw-
on, and I'm like, yo, what is this?
The moment I saw Fish Person, I went, Sinking City.
Yes.
Because of Lovecraftian horrors.
Well, that would be the first thing I would think, especially because, it's kind of cool because Frogware has just had like a big a lawsuit with their publisher trying to get the rights back to this game,
Oh.
which they did.
Nice.
They succeeded. It was like the publisher basically stole the rights or something. It was weird, but of course, Frogware's got it back.
I still need
and-
to play the first one, even
Look,
though you
it's
said
not
it's
a good game. It's
Right.
not a good game. I would like for this one to be good. So I hope it is. I think I'll inevitably give it a try.
Stalker, the original trilogy, is coming,
That's pretty massive.
which
but it's
is
not on
huge
Game
because
Pass.
it's never been ported over to consoles
Really?
before.
Didn't know that.
It's also apparently a very rough game to play.
I
but-
would
Oh yeah, those games are like I don't know, like every game that has like every survival shooter
listened-
basically owes its existence.
I listened to
Stalker.
Rob Zachney talk for 2.5 hours on a Waypoint episode, or Remap now, about how great Stalker is, and so I feel like I owe it to him to buy this and give it a try.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'll tell you the one thing I walked out of this really excited for was Monster Jam Showdown, which looked like not only a MotorStorm type racing game, which is fun, which is basically a kart racer, but B, it looked like a physics-based 3D version of Trials HD, where like you could do like stunts. There was like a Tony Hawk style arena section where you do like tricks as a monster truck and have to like balance on 2 tires and like do flips, like
Interesting.
Tony Hawk style stuff as a monster truck to get points. And so for that, I'm interested in Monster Jam Showdown. I'll look at the reviews before I buy it, of course. And then, of course, Tales of Kenzera is out. Looks sick.
Yeah. So I want to talk a little bit about the first section of games.
Forrest, tell me about Kunitsugami.
Okay, I guess we'll talk about the last game shown off real quick. This is a game that was revealed by Capcom a few months ago,
And it looked a lot cooler then.
I mean,
Than it does
yes,
now.
yeah. So, yeah. So this trailer today was kind of a gameplay reveal. Aesthetically, it still looks great. And previously, I have expressed this should have just been an Onimusha game. Well, with the gameplay reveal today, it was shown off that this is. So the game is split into two sections: daytime and nighttime. During the daytime, you basically travel around to like villages and stuff and guide a path for this priest goddess lady, and when you get to the villages and you clear out some like bad vibes basically, and you recruit villagers to help you in battles defending the village that will happen during the nighttime section of the game, which then basically changes the game into a base defense type game. You
I saw
set up.
someone on Twitter describe it as a Pikmin-like.
There's
That's
definitely
not how I would
there's
describe
definitely some shades of Pikmin.
it. There is definitely like strategizing that you have to do, and kind of ordering around some of the villagers, but
There is shades of Pikmin, in my opinion.
I don't know if I would I don't know if that's like the first comparison I would make though.
No, but it is in there.
Yeah.
This game, Seth, if you were to watch the trailer, it is like a real hodgepodge of pieces of other games.
Yeah.
As many
into
games
this.
are.
Like Wonderful
Right,
101, just a character
Dylan's
action.
rolling-
When you were describing it, I was thinking of Dylan's Rolling Western.
Dylan's Rolling
I
Western,
will
yeah.
be honest.
And so I'm gonna be honest, like this reveal kind of brought me down on this because I remember being super hyped when this was first announced. I was like, oh, this looks crazy great, and I still love the art direction for it. And I would still like to give this game a shot, but I'm really not excited about just base defense.
Yeah,
You know?
can be kind of a bummer.
Yeah.
But it's on Game Pass, so
Yeah.
you
So
won't have to spend money
you know.
on it. Frostpunk 2 was a really brief showing. First Berserker Kazan looked
it almost
boring.
that's the thing. The first like 20 seconds of the gameplay shown off looked really good, and then it just started stuttering. Like
Oh
the
my god!
actual
This trailer
gameplay.
dropped. This trailer would drop to like 15 frames
Yeah.
during the trailer,
And it's-
it was like, ooh,
Yeah.
that's coming in hot. That's not good.
like if that game could have been like smoothed out, like I would probably give it a shot. But the way it's looking right now, heck no, that'd be a waste. There was a game shown off or revealed during the first person called Sleight of Hand, and it's a
Sounds like a card game.
yeah, almost. I think it described itself as a stealth sim, but the lead character that they showed off, she uses cards to. There was no gameplay; it was just all like conceptual
Vibes.
Yeah, vibes and like cutscene
So
stuff.
she's
basically,
Gambit.
but yeah, she has a set of cards. Each of them has a different ability, like freezing or just some different elemental, environmental stuff. And she's like stealing some alcohol or something from a dude that's loading it up into a
The cask of
Trailer.
Amontillado.
sure. I don't
She's
know.
Gambit mixed with Rogue.
Yeah. But I don't know.
It's pronounced Rouge, the bat.
Whatever you want, sugar. But yeah, so this game at least conceptually seems pretty interesting. I'm pretty excited to see what else we get from it in the future. They didn't give a date for it though. It was just wish listed. It's
Yeah.
like okay.
I think it's kind of weird in a showcase like this to not have gameplay, but
Yeah. Especially because a
It
lot of
was-
these other things had gameplay, even if it was just for like quick, like 2-second snippets. Like Unknown 9 Awakening, the first game that was shown off, that had some gameplay in like just cutscenes shown off. Like it wasn't like extended or anything like a bunch of the other games shown off were, but like pretty much everything here, with the exception of Sleight of Hand and Sinking City 2, had gameplay shown off. Yeah. Yeah.
was there anything good?
No, I mean, like I said, Stalker looked cool.
Yeah.
What about the altars?
I didn't see that one.
I think
So
that's the. I think.
Had a bunch of people. that were the same people?
Yeah, I think you play if that's the one that I'm thinking of. You play this dude who gets like stranded on a hostile planet, and the sun is
You
like
hate when that happens.
super hot. So like during the daytime, you have to go back to your ship, and then during the nighttime when the sun is down, you go out and like scavenge and stuff and like try to survive. And
Just like real life.
yeah, especially in Florida, stay inside all day,
Man, I
scavenge at night.
What about Chucky Roblox?
Yeah, what about it?
No further comments.
yeah, I don't want to talk about that one. I don't know.
Hey, what if we talk about Pokemon ZA?
Did we not?
We did not. We didn't have a pod last week.
I think I
We
thought we talked
did.
about it the week before.
Wait, was the Pokemon Day? We
The
talked about it?
Pokemon Direct was not the same day as the Nintendo Partner Showcase.
I thought we talked about this in like Kalos region stuff.
Yeah, we definitely did.
Are you sure? I don't think we did.
Yeah,
might
we
have.
definitely talked about it. Because I made the not move joke.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The what joke?
The not pizza, not pizza.
Pizza.
Don't.
Check the
This
archives.
is great. This is great.
We can't even remember 2
I don't
weeks back.
think that was
consistently.
that. That was definitely in an episode, but that wasn't us talking about Pokemon. All of us are furiously.
Was that not in the Nintendo Partner Direct?
No,
I swear to God it was.
it happened on Pokemon Day.
Yeah. Man, y'all are making me feel crazy.
I mean,
Yeah, the
you guys
last
didn't
one we
record
had
last week, did you?
was we didn't record last week. We talked about the
I thought we recorded last week. What did we do
No, I
last
was
week?
out last week.
he
Oh,
was in
that's right.
Nashville
Forrest
having
Nashville.
hot chicken.
Forrest was
Yeah.
watching a movie
I watched
while
Tenet and Dune 2 on
Oompa Loompa rotated the
1570
reel with a
millimeter
crank
IMAX.
and
It was great. The screen was 96 feet tall.
while someone was blowing sand and incense into a theater. And
Did
Like,
you
it
have
wasn't
any hot
4D.
chicken?
Yes.
Good. I was right.
Yeah. I had chicken that
so
was
we
indeed.
should talk about Pokemon.
Yes,
temperature
on
wise.
Pokemon Day, the Pokemon Company had a whole reel of all their
And
new
the
stuff.
main news is that they announced
Phalanx is going to be...
Miraidon is in Pokemon Unite. I have
Did
it
you
unlocked.
Honda made a Miraidon motorcycle.
I did not
What?
see that. I should. Maybe I'm a motorcycle person now. I hate
yes.
motorcycles, but I may love this.
But at the end of it, they revealed that they are working on a new game coming out in 2025, set in the Kalos region, previously in X and Y, called Pokemon Legends ZA.
Of course.
It was Toyota. Toyota made it. Yep, it's a Miraidon bike. Look at it.
That's great.
Wow, I need one.
I think there's only one.
Well, I need it.
Only one. Yeah.
I can't
Rad.
tell if those are actual wheels.
So yeah, we're doing another Pokemon Legends. It's coming out next year.
Yes.
And
Probably
and-
coming up with the new Switch.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, there's something
And
that
it's set in
said
one of my favorite
it-
regions.
There was something in like, it said coming to all Nintendo systems or something. There was something specific in the press release.
Yeah.
That they said plural systems that made everyone
Right.
think, oh yeah, this is Switch 2. And I think the reason it's coming in 2025 is because of the recent news that the Switch 2 was pushed back to 2025. I'm excited. I love Kalos.
Yeah.
But it's
one of my
apparently the game is taking place wholly in Lumio City, which was the main city in that game.
Which is weird.
Yeah, it's interesting. It would have
With that said, though, the version of that city that we got in X and Y, like that was on very limited hardware.
Right.
I would
it
really
has,
much like
it
to
has
see
the potential to be a
huge.
like a very big city, because that was
Yeah.
the idea that they were giving off. Much like in Black and White, as
With
much as
that
I
New
dislike
York
it, they had
equivalent.
the huge New York City. That, I mean, it was really only a couple of roads, but
Yeah, but the scale of it was pretty cool.
And you can imagine that scaled up, it would be a much bigger thing. So
Yeah.
it's like, is this going to be like a Pokemon GTA? You're just in these streets. I don't know.
There's also a lot of future stuff.
Well,
shown.
I don't know that it was future stuff.
There's hologram Pokemon.
I think those are just blueprints.
Yeah, I think it
like,
was just
styling.
supposed to reflect the idea of like blueprints of a new city
Yeah,
or
schematics.
or
I think when I think of holographic blueprints, I think the future.
okay.
You think
well,
of Tron.
I think it was more just like a stylistic projection of what the future of the city is going to be, not necessarily the future.
Yeah. Because why would they be making Lumio City in the future?
It's already been made.
Yeah. And if the Legends games are going to be like these things that are set kind of at the beginning of these regions, like, or like these specific like big populous areas in those regions.
It is weird because Legends Arceus was in the distant, like thousands of years in the past, or whatever.
Yeah.
But it does seem like this does seem to be a more modern,
A little more contemporary, or at least
Time.
closer.
because the whole trailer is like talking about this redevelopment project
Yeah.
of Lumio City to make it.
What if it happens
People
after
in
their
Pokemon.
equivalent of World War II?
Yeah, I
when
don't know.
Paris got absolutely messed up.
It could be. It could be. There is a great war in the history of Kalos. It could also take place potentially after X and Y,
Oh my god.
which would be crazy.
I would be so down for
It's
that.
just interesting
actually.
because the way that they specifically say like the
It's the word.
redevelopment of Lumio City.
Yeah.
It's like, well, is it turning into the Lumio City from X and Y? Was it already a small town or something? I don't know. I'm just glad that
I'm
we're
just
back.
hoping it's not a city builder.
I would hardly
That
even
would
know
be-
we're in that case.
That would be very funny.
Yeah. I would stay away from that game with a 50-foot
Can you
bowl.
imagine? People would be so mad.
I know
Oh,
I'm asking
Lord.
the monkey paw to curl by saying it, but
Pokemon City Builder. I mean, Pokemon has meshed well with a lot of
Yeah, different
types of
genres.
genres.
When are we getting Conquest 2?
Oh, that's
what I need to
That's
know.
the dream.
one day, maybe,
Someday.
never.
No, it'll happen. We will
In
it into
HD
existence.
2D style.
Oh,
Lord.
we get that before a proper Tactics remake.
By the time they do an HD 2D, it'll be for red and blue.
I don't know. I could see them doing something like it with Black and White.
Even they want to skip those. They want to, like they desperately want to.
I wonder if they're doing that because Black and White 2 like got a sequel. So like it had a fully baked story.
Yeah.
And so maybe there's a thought that
What if they
we don't
do-
need to add more to this.
What if they do Black and White remake and Black and White 2 Rebirth?
And then Black and White 3 reunion.
Reunion.
Is that the third one?
I don't know.
We don't know, yeah. We're just,
No, we
we're
do
just
know. They've said
speculating.
what the third
But I
one
guess it would make sense because Zekrom and Reshiram and Kyurem were originally one entity.
Yeah, so that they have
They
to...
would be reuniting into the original dragon.
Sephiroth.
New headcanon. The original dragon in Pokemon lore is Sephiroth.
Yeah.
I'm excited for this game. I hope it is somewhat that it, I can't imagine what the gameplay would be like if not like it was in Pokemon Legends
Yeah.
Arceus. I don't know. There's clear. There's no details other than in the title. The title ZA is interesting. The Z is stylized very
Like
much as
Zygarde.
Zygarde cells. The A, people have speculated, it kind of looks like what the ultimate weapon did in X and Y. You know, it was a big flower thing, but when it closed up, it was like this kind of spire-looking
Yeah.
thing.
Oh, also the ending
Others
of the...
speculated maybe the A is another legendary, A legendary.
Maybe.
It could be. There already is an A legendary named Arceus.
Yeah. And Articuno.
Ein Articuno.
And Azelf.
Yep. He's technically a legendary.
Yep.
And
What is it as elf?
it's from
It's
Diamond and
Sinnoh.
Pearl.
Oh, the bad
Trio.
The
games.
Lake Trio.
You just hate good Pokemon games. That's what I'm hearing.
Oh no, you're
don't
you're in the minority here, bud. You can't. I
I
understand.
especially think the Lake Trio are pretty crappy.
You're punching above your weight
It's
here.
like what if we made Mew but worse?
Yeah, I'd give that.
Yeah.
Stupid Reggies, the Reggies that do all those.
I kind of like Reggie Gigas. He's really
Reggie
silly.
Gigas is great.
Reggie,
the other
Reggie
three
Gigas
suck.
is the Krusty the Clown of Pokemon with the stupid
No, that's Mr.
grass.
Mime.
No, with the stupid
it's
grass
Mr.
sticking
Rhyme.
out on the side of it. And
But at the end of the-
Gigas.
But at the end of this Legends ZA trailer, there's a little Mega.
Yeah, they showed the
Evolution
Mega Stone.
symbol.
It's cool that Mega Evolution is back. It's been too long.
Yes. Oh, and
Did
I know we talked about this before of how I hate with every new generation of Pokemon that they just keep doing a new gimmick instead
Right.
of reiterating upon previous like additions to how the gameplay like systems had ancillary mechanics.
Understand.
So I'm gonna be so freaking hyped to have
did
the
I
Megas back.
did I tell you guys the story that happened a couple weeks ago, maybe a couple months ago with Pokemon, where there was just legendaries in Scarlet and Violet that I didn't know about,
Really?
No.
and I didn't learn about them until I was opening Pokemon card packs that I had just bought randomly, and I'm like,
Like Chien
What's
Pao?
this?
I'm like,
Pokemon.
who's Chien Po? And I'm like,
Yeah, there was no real.
what?
You had to do a lot. You had to really go out of your way to find those legendaries in that
And
game.
then I got another one that was like another crazy, like Chinese-based name, and
there's
I'm
four
like,
of them. The
and I was
four.
like, what? These things barely look like
cursed items
Pokemon
or something.
Yeah, they don't look like Pokemon.
Yeah, they're like things that came to life out of different items.
Oh, so Garbodor and Klefki.
No, more like
Are you dissing on my boy Klefki?
it's more like if you had a ring of keys,
Like Klefki?
and then Klefki is a ring of keys. I'm saying you got a ring of keys like implanted into the head of a ferret,
That's terrifying.
and then you say the ferret is actually the spirit of hate that resided within the ring of keys.
Oh, that's kind of sick.
Sorry, Chien Po is the large man from Mulan. Chien,
He's a Pokemon.
he's a
Chien Pao.
Chien Pao. I just tried to Google Chien Po and then realized what I have done. Oh, he's just like yeah.
He's just a long boy, but he's got two fangs that are made of two halves of a sword.
Yeah, bad.
I think the lore is that they are those items rather than the Pokemon. It's like how in Steven Universe the crystal gems are the rocks, and they create
Bodies around themselves.
bodies around them.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're kind of underbaked within that game for sure. But yeah,
There you go. That was also a small side about me being dumb. Then
but yeah,
no clue.
Pokemon.
Thought I somehow got a Chinese card on accident. Did not know.
You got a bootleg card off of Temu.
Yeah, thought so. Yeah, and the other note is that Ghost of Tsushima is coming to PC. It's taken this long because Sucker Punch uses a proprietary engine, and so they had to learn. Studio had to learn how to make the engine work for PC, I guess.
That does seem like it would be hard.
All right, there's going to be no episode next week, and then I'm trying to be as far as possible in Final Fantasy as possible by our next episode.
There'll be a next episode when there is one.
There will be one soon, or then later, but not next week. And with that, we will talk at you later. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
See ya.